I have always loved movies, but I don't own a phone or a computer, so whenever I want to watch one, I go to my friend's house. He has everything: an old laptop, a small screen, and a quiet space. Night after night, we sit together, immersed in films. Sometimes we start early and finish early, but most nights, without realizing it, we keep watching until the clock passes 1, sometimes even 2 in the morning. When the movies are over, I walk home. My friend's house is about 17 or 18 minutes from mine on foot. The first part of the walk is easy. There are a few houses, dim tea stalls, and the occasional motorbike passing. But soon, the lights and sounds fade. The road narrows into open land. On one side a dark, silent wetland. On the other side empty fields stretching into shadows. After 8 o'clock p.m., you rarely see a soul here. After midnight, it feels like another world. I've walked this path so many times that I know every bend and every uneven stone. Still, at that hour, the place changes. The crickets go quiet. The breeze feels heavy. The silence deepens until it presses against your ears. It's the kind of quiet that makes you aware of your own breathing, your own heartbeat. On those nights, the only sound is my own footsteps crunching against the earth. Sometimes, far away, a dog barks or a faint ripple comes from the water. Otherwise, nothing. Just me, the road, and the blackness on both sides. Even though I told myself it was safe, every walk felt longer than the last. I would glance over my shoulder once, twice, then again seeing nothing but darkness swallowing the road behind me. I didn't know it then, but these silent walks were about to turn into something I could never explain. That night felt different before it even began. I had stayed at my friend's house later than usual. One movie turned into 2, and by the time I stepped outside it was already past 1 o'clock. The village was fast asleep. Even the stray dogs had gone quiet. I started my walk home, telling myself it was just another night. At first, everything seemed normal. The same path, the same faint glow of the stars above. But halfway through, just as the last of the houses disappeared behind me, I noticed a smell. It came out of nowhere, faint at first, like a single note in a quiet room. Then it grew thicker, heavier, until it wrapped itself around me. The unmistakable stench of raw, rotting fish. It was the kind of smell you'd expect near a busy market by the river at noon. Not here, not at this hour, and definitely not in the middle of an empty road with wetlands on one side and barren fields on the other. I slowed down, pulling my shirt over my nose. My heart started to beat faster. It felt like the smell wasn't just in the air, it was following me, moving as I moved. The silence pressed harder around me, and then, that feeling came. Someone was walking behind me, not close, but there, matching my pace, watching. I turned my head quickly. Nothing. Just the road stretching back into darkness. I forced myself to keep walking, but my palms were sweating. Every sound, my own footsteps. The wind through the grass felt magnified. Then I saw it. Up ahead, under the pale glimmer of a far-off streetlight, something white was standing in the middle of the road. At first, I thought it was a sack of rice, or maybe some cloth blown there by the wind. But it shifted. It moved. And when I came a little closer, I realized it was a cat. But not an ordinary cat. It was huge, far larger than any cat I had ever seen. Its fur was pure white, so bright it almost glowed against the darkness. Its tail curled slowly behind it, unnaturally long. Its eyes caught the faint light and reflected it back in a dull, pale glow, like 2 coins at the bottom of a well. It didn't hiss. It didn't move. It just stared at me. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. The road was empty except for me and that cat. I told myself it had to be just an animal, but something about the way it stood, too still, too silent, made my skin crawl. Then, without a sound, it stepped off the road and vanished into the shadows of the wetland grass. The smell of fish seemed to thin out with it. I stood there for a few seconds, heart hammering, staring at the spot where it had disappeared. The road ahead looked longer than ever. Somehow, I forced myself to keep walking until I reached home. But that night, even after I shut the door behind me, I couldn't shake the feeling of its eyes on me. After that night with the white cat, I told myself it was nothing. Just an animal. Just my tired mind playing tricks. I stayed away from my friend's house for a couple of days, but the temptation of movies pulled me back. Soon enough, I was again walking home at the same ungodly hour along the same lonely path. That's when the pattern began. The first night back, the air turned heavy again. It started exactly as before, silence closing in, the smell of raw fish crawling into my nose. By the time I reached the edge of the wetlands, I felt my skin prickle. The sense of being watched had returned. My steps slowed without me meaning them to. And then I saw it up ahead in the middle of the road, something white and unmoving. This time, it wasn't a cat. It was a dog, huge, snow white, its body lean and taut, its head lowered slightly as if it was about to lunge. Its eyes didn't shine like a normal dog's. They were dull and colorless, like two dead pearls. It didn't bark, didn't growl. It just stood there, muscles coiled. I gripped my bag tightly and forced myself to walk forward. The dog didn't move. Only when I was a few meters away did it slowly turn and drift into the darkness of the wetland grass, silent as smoke. The smell faded with it, but the cold in my chest stayed until I reached home. The following night, it happened again. The smell, the silence, the same oppressive feeling of being followed. But now, waiting in the road ahead, was a white cow. It wasn't like any cow from our village. Its body was tall and angular, its skin so pale it almost glimmered under the faint starlight. It stood perfectly still, its head turned slightly, as if staring at me out of the corner of its eye. I tried to skirt around it, stepping into the weeds at the side of the road, but as I passed, I swore its head turned to follow me. My heart was hammering so hard it felt like my chest might burst. When I finally looked back, the cow was gone, vanished into the fields as if it had never been there. By now, sleep was impossible. Even at home, behind closed doors, I would catch that faint whiff of fish, like a warning. My dreams were filled with white shapes shifting in the dark. I told myself over and over that it was nothing, that I was imagining it. But then came the night I'll never forget. It was later than usual when I left my friend's house close to 2 in the morning. The air was thick and wet, the stars hidden behind a low mist. As I reached the stretch of road between the wetlands and the empty field, the smell hit me harder than ever before. It was suffocating, like a rotting market left under the sun. My hands trembled, my legs slowed. I could feel something waiting ahead, and then I saw it. Not a cat, not a dog, not a cow, a snake. But not like any snake I'd ever seen. It was enormous, its body thicker than my thigh, stretching across the road like a pale, glistening rope. Its scales were pure white, shining faintly as if reflecting a light that wasn't there. Its head rose slowly, its tongue flickering in and out, tasting the air. I couldn't breathe. My heart felt like it had stopped. The road ahead was blocked by that massive, ghostly coil. For one terrifying second, its head turned toward me, and its eyes, if they were eyes, caught mine. Something in me broke. I turned and ran. I didn't care about the path, about the darkness, about anything but getting away. My shoes slapped the earth. My breath tore out of my chest. I didn't stop until my own door was in front of me. That night, even inside my room, I could feel it, something out there, waiting by the wetlands, patient and white. After the night of the white snake, I could no longer pretend it was my imagination. Something was wrong. Something was following me. For the first time in weeks, I decided not to go to my friend's house. I stayed home after sunset, thinking, if I don't pass by the wetlands, it will stop. But it didn't stop. The first evening I stayed home, I felt a strange relief. The night passed quietly. I thought maybe I had outrun whatever it was. But on the second night, just as I sat alone in my room, a familiar smell crept in through the window. Faint at first, then stronger. The same rotting fish smell. My stomach turned. My heart began to beat like a drum. I shut the window. I lit some incense. I told myself it was nothing, but the smell stayed, swirling around the room like invisible smoke. And with it came the feeling someone watching me, not from the window, not from the door, from somewhere closer. The kind of feeling you get when someone is standing behind you, breathing softly, just out of sight. I barely slept that night. Every creak of the bamboo walls, every gust of wind through the trees outside felt like footsteps, like whispering. My heart would jump, my body tense, but there was nothing there when I turned. Nothing I could see. The following night, it got worse. The smell arrived even earlier. This time, it wasn't just the smell. I could hear something too. Faint sounds, like soft splashes of water somewhere in the darkness. And then a whisper, not words I could understand, but a low sound, almost like breathing. I stopped watching movies completely. I stopped going out at night, but the presence didn't leave. Instead, it began to feel stronger. I would catch glimpses of white in the corners of my eyes, sometimes at the window, sometimes near the doorframe, always gone by the time I turned my head. My days became heavy, my nights unbearable. Even in daylight, my chest felt tight, like something was pressing down on me. My appetite faded, my thoughts began to blur. All I could think about was the smell, the white shapes, the sense of eyes on me from somewhere I couldn't see. I finally told my friend everything, every detail. The cat, the dog, the cow, the snake, the smell, the eyes, the way it followed me home. I expected him to laugh or tell me I was imagining things. Instead, he went quiet. Then he said softly, "You have to come with me tomorrow. I know someone who can help." For the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe there was a way to end this. Maybe there was an explanation. The next evening, just before sunset, my friend came to my house. He didn't waste time talking. "Come," he said quietly. "We'll go now." We walked together, but not toward his house. Instead, he led me to a small building on the edge of the village, a place I had never been before. It was the home of a huger, a man my friend trusted deeply. The huger welcomed us inside without asking too many questions. His house smelled of incense and old wood. He listened carefully as I told my story from beginning to end. The movies, the long walks, the white shapes, the smell of fish, the nights of being watched. He didn't laugh. He didn't interrupt. He just nodded slowly, his eyes serious. When I finished, he said softly, "What you saw is not of this world. You crossed its path, and it saw you. It is waiting." He led me into a small inner room. It was windowless, the walls dark. He lit a single agarbati and placed it in the center. The sweet, heavy smoke filled the room almost instantly, curling like ghosts in the dim light. Then he closed the door behind us, shutting out every sound from the outside world. We sat on the floor together. The huger began to recite verses under his breath, his voice low and steady. The smoke grew thicker, the air warmer. I tried to steady my breathing, but my hands were trembling. My heart beat so loudly it drowned out everything else. And then it happened. From somewhere inside the darkness, a voice spoke. "Assalamu alaikum." It wasn't the huger, it wasn't me. The voice was soft, echoing, like someone speaking from far underwater. Without thinking, I answered automatically, "Wa alaikum assalam." The huger's voice rose, chanting faster, firmer. He sprinkled water from a small copper bowl onto the floor. The scent of the smoke sharpened, almost burning my eyes. My skin prickled as if a cold wind had passed over it. The huger then spoke to me directly. "This spirit is from the wetlands. It has fixed its gaze upon you. It wanted to harm you when you walked by the water. When you stopped, it lost its chance. Now lingers, waiting to find you alone again. But it cannot stand before the words of God." He recited more verses, his voice filling the room. The air vibrated with it. For a moment, I thought I heard something hiss from the corner of the room, a faint, wet sound, like a snake sliding away. The smell of fish was suddenly so strong, it almost made me gag. And then, just as quickly, it vanished. Silence. The smoke thinned. The air felt lighter. The huger placed a small amulet in my hand and told me to wear it for a time, to stay away from the wetlands after dark, and to pray before sleep. He said the spirit had retreated, but it would watch for weakness. As long as my faith stayed strong, it could not touch me. That night, for the first time in weeks, I slept deeply. No smell, no whispers, no eyes in the dark. The next day felt brighter, the air clearer. Day by day, the heaviness left me. I began to visit my friend again, but only in daylight. I never walked that road alone after midnight again. Sometimes though, when the night is especially still and the breeze drifts in from the wetlands, I think I can almost smell it again, that faint, rotting scent of fish, and I remember the white shapes on the road, waiting, but now know what they were, and I know to stay away. Did you enjoy the story? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Horror Dream. Want more stories like this? Subscribe to The Horror Dream, and we'll bring you more darkness, just for you. If you enjoy a little chill down your spine, stick around, like, share, and hit that subscribe button, right here on The Horror Dream. Your support keeps us going, so stay with us. Subscribe to The Horror Dream for more spine-tingling tales.